Hello and welcome to this edition of Trade Review. Today we're going to be looking at KeyCorp both on the daily as well as the weekly. And a quick 20-second reminder, following this video I will also be posting trade reviews on Schwab as well as TD Ameritrade as well as even Bank of America. So go ahead, stay tuned for those. You might even see one on Nike, so keep your eye out for those if you are interested. So this is going to be for key on the daily for the week of July 5th, and let's go ahead and get into it. For any of you that have followed my previous videos, I originally bought this stock based off of this trend line right here that I drew. I like this price. I call this a price action breakout. I call it a price action breakout pattern, actually. And the pattern is pretty simple. As long as we have 3 points of contact, and as long as this angle right here is no more than 45 degrees, we're good to go. And when we have a breakout here with volume and RSI confirming, we can go ahead and buy. So I got in on this day in here, I do believe, and we've gone higher. Now there was a little bit of retracement, and I did stay in. I stayed in this stock the entire time. I had a predefined stop loss at the bottom of this bar, I do believe, sitting around 1770. So we came pretty close to it, but we did not get stopped out. So I do, for the newer traders out there, I will just say real quick, whenever you enter a trade, make sure you have a trading plan. Make sure, if you're watching a stock, say, hey, I want to enter at this price or around this price, as long as I have good volume and technicals are confirming, for example. Furthermore, you also want to have, stop losses already thought out. If you don't have stop losses already thought out ahead of time, you're really going to start second guessing yourself when it starts retracing here. If I didn't have a stop loss planned out beforehand, I'd be like, man, this is going down 4 days in a row. I was wrong, and I might get out on this day, and then we move up. So it's really good to have stop losses planned out. I had mine at 1770-ish, like I said. So just a quick note for the newer traders out there, or even for the ones that have been trading a while, that is good advice for everybody. Okay, so breaking this down, I entered it on this day based off of this price action break. The RSI was okay to me. The MACD was also okay to me. So I went ahead and made an entry. As you can see, I thought we were going to break higher immediately. I was wrong. Instead, we seem to be forming some sort of wedge, right? Can you see this wedge that we're seeing here? I hope you can. And we're going to break down this wedge that we're actually seeing here. So a few days ago, I actually drew this trend line that we see right here before we even saw the most recent bars. So I drew that trend line when we were looking something like this, right? Remember, we need 3 points of contact to draw a trend line, and that's what I've done here. So as you can see, in the past few days, we've actually broken above this line, which is absolutely great. Today, on these, okay, so these two red bars, I just want to make a quick note. These are called Doji candlesticks. If you don't know what they are, please look it up. It's spelled D-O-J-I. It shows indecision in the market. Indecision, right? So we're at a crossing point, right? We're right at that line right here, that wedge right here. Are we going to break higher or break down? And we see Doji at the top. That's even more significant. It means, man, there's indecision here. What's going to happen? And it looks like we've broken higher, right? So that's a good sign. Furthermore, if we look today on this candle bar right here, just a quick note here, we opened the day right here. Immediately we traded lower, and we had a massive rally and to close the day higher. So this stock is showing some good. I like the candlesticks that we're seeing in here. I would expect to see candlesticks that represent some sort of significance, like we're seeing with these Dojis, as we're seeing with this one right here. So I'll go ahead and I'll break down this wedge a little bit more. As we know, price action breakout patterns are very powerful, and we also know that I preach always having 3 points of contact, even though my first bottom line I drew here was only with 2 points of contact. So we're starting to see some sort of wedge, right? This is not perfect, but it's undeniably, it's there. I think it's undeniably. Now, there's even more trend lines that we can draw. So we had a little bit of peak here, and that's where I drew this trend line, right? Well, I could even say, hey, what about this right here, right? You guys see that? You see that trend line that we're seeing right there? Oops. You see that? starting here, we're connecting these points, these points, these points, this one, and these. And look, we you know, no matter how you draw this stock is breaking out from the looks of it, right? This is just from, you know, price action alone. And last price action trend line I'm going to draw, and then we'll move on to the technical analysis using indicators, is this one right here. If we can cross this previous high right here at 1957, we are in the clear to move higher. So, you know, at that point, you can start looking at previous levels of this stock, and maybe you can see where it's going to run to. And interestingly, you can see where it closed at today is a point that we really haven't touched other than this time right here. We closed right at this bar right here from 2007. So I would say this is significant, and that Key Corp could definitely move higher. Again, this is just on the daily. Get out of here. This is just on the daily, so I'll follow up with a weekly here pretty shortly, but I'm going to go ahead and draw a few trend lines on the RSI here. Hopefully you are aware of RSI Trendlines. If not, I highly advise you to watch some more of my videos, and if my videos aren't cutting it for you, there is a mentor, I consider him a mentor on YouTube, named Eric Mwade, and I'll post a link to his channel in the description, because I do truly believe that you know, he's really helped me, so he can really help you. So assuming that you know how to draw RSI resistance lines, again, 3 points of contact, right? 3 points of contact. Bear with me here. So if you're familiar with some of my techniques, I like to draw trend lines. And once I see a trend line break, I will draw a ray. This green bar is considered a ray. Look how well this is, you know, responding to this ray that I drew. And I'm drawing this in real time, people. You know, you're seeing what I'm seeing, right? I'm going to draw these rays, and let's spend, you know, 30 seconds or so analyzing what I've just drawn here. Every single time, so we broke down from this level right in here, right? We had a massive rally and we broke down right in here, right? So I'm going to draw a ray once we break below this trend line. And if we look at it, look how many times the RSI has gotten rejected from this level right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's been rejected 7 times, and as you can see, it looks like we might be moving higher here now, right? Today's RSI is the highest it has been since this break right here, and it's actually past that green line just slightly. And again, it's the highest it's been since this original break. It looks pretty good, right? Key Corp looks pretty good. And if we look, every single time it got rejected, it did move lower, right? It did move lower. We got rejected right here, we moved lower. Especially, you know, we tested it right here and we moved lower. So this ray is of significance. Let's finish up the RSI with this ray right here. You know, I'm going to draw this, connecting 3 points of contact. We do break the trend line there just slightly. I just would consider that noise personally. And we go ahead and we break it right here. So I'll draw a ray right there. Is this ray significant? Let's check. It's always good to, you know, back test your strategy. You can't just draw this stuff and assume it's going to work 100% of the time. I mean, it normally does, but so we have a break right here. So if I were to go long right here, I get in this move right there, just following my cursor, that move right there. If I, you know, I bounce off of the trend line right there, and it gets you in for a tiny little move right there, nothing significant. You know, we get rejected right here, we move lower, right? And then if you were to buy, once it crosses back above this green line right here, we move higher. So I would say both of these trend lines here are of significance. I consider, you know, I think that Key Corp looks great. I'm long right now. So there's that. We're gonna finish this the daily up here just by looking at the MACD. We had a MACD cross right here, and we know that not all MACD crosses are of significance, right? If you've listened to me or any of my other videos, you know that I always say MACD crosses are not always significant. And which ones are significant? How do we know? Well, I'm gonna this quick 30-second analysis on MACD. So we moved really high here, right? And then we tried to, again, move higher right here, correct? Well, we ended up getting rejected. Why do I say we ended up getting rejected? Because we really didn't move higher. The MACD didn't even come close to these levels right here. So I would say yes. Right here, the MACD got rejected. What do? I'm going to draw a trend line. All right? I'm going to draw a resistance line. Notice the next time we try to test that resistance line, we got rejected. We moved lower. Now, we're coming back to test it. So as long as we clear this green line right here, we're probably in the clear. I like that, right? So what does this cross that we're seeing right here represent? Well, I said that not all crosses are significant. And what do I mean by that? From what I have learned, MACD crosses that occur near the 0 line are more significant than others. And what I mean by that, a grade A example, you get a MACD cross to the downside right here. If you were to just obey this, you would have gotten out right here and you would have missed this move in here, right? Ultimately, we want to stay long this stock. I mean, we've gone on a massive run here. We're probably going to move higher. This is a horrible sell signal. If you were to get out just because it crossed there, I mean, you gotta study technicals a little bit more. That's why I say MACD crosses above the 0 line are often less significant. That's not to say that they're always insignificant, but they are more significant at the 0 line. So just remember that. I like this cross we're seeing here. Hopefully we'll move higher. Let's go ahead and move on to the weekly. I hope my analysis on the daily here has been helpful for everybody. Now, if we look here, you see the same wedge that we were seeing on the daily, on the weekly as well. And it's interesting to note that that wedge that we're drawing wasn't lining up with the middle of the week per se. It was literally from week to week, where the wedge is being drawn at the base of each of these bars, meaning it definitely shows significance. I hope you understand what I'm saying there. This wedge could have looked more like this, and you would have said, okay, that's not really a wedge on the weekly, but we're seeing a wedge on the weekly as well as the daily is what I'm trying to get at. And that just shows more significance. I like that. I mean, look how beautiful this looks at the moment. We're breaking above this trend line right here, and we're moving higher. We might see a little bit of stumbling around this price point right here. We'll keep a close eye on that. But it's looking good. And I'm going to go ahead. I am going to delete these trend lines that I drew on these RSI trend lines that I drew on the daily, and we're going to draw some new ones here. So bear with me here. We'll try to wrap up this video quickly because I know everybody's time is important. Again, going for about 3 points of contact. This isn't the best trend line, but nonetheless, you might be able to draw a ray right here. That RSI trend line is just not really telling us too much. And I am charting everything in real time here. So looking at a different trend line, what can we tell from the RSI? Well, what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to look at previous rallies, right? We saw a previous rally here. What can this previous rally RSI levels tell us about this one? Let's take a look. So I'm going to draw, again, going for 3 points of contact. I can't stress that enough. An RSI trend line that looks like that. Okay, now I'm going to again apply the ray theory that I was, the drawing of rays when we break this trend line. I'm going to put one there, and I'm also going to even put one right here. And why did I draw 2 there? Well, we broke down below here. Yes, we did, but we went right back up. So this trend may still be in play is what I'm thinking. So if we, look forward, we can see that we test this trend line right here, showing it still has significance before we break down below it. So I'm going to say that, yes, this ray that I just drew is significant. And let's see if that isn't true, is indeed factual. Let's see how many times this top trend line has been of significance for us. So we tried to break higher right here. We got rejected, as we can see, got rejected. Even looking here, we got rejected and we moved lower. Here is the day that we actually broke above this RSI trend line right there, and look at this massive run that we get in there, right? That's a very good run, showing that this RSI trend line is indeed factual, right? It's unreasonable to expect to get this entire move in, but I would still say getting this whole move in right here, you're doing damn good. So that's a RSI trend line analysis for you guys on this one. Real quick before we move on to MACD, I think I see another trend line right here. A little bit rougher, but I don't know. That one doesn't seem to be of too much significance. But it's always, like I said, I'm doing this stuff in real time, and I'm showing you how my thought process of this so that you can see it as well. MACD looks like it's crossing positive here, so that's a good sign. RSI is breaking these two trend lines, so hopefully we go ahead and we move higher and continue to break out of this wedge. And if we do, then all is good in the world. So let's just follow up in this video with my trading plans. So going back to the daily, I am up an okay percentage, nothing outstanding. How am I going to play this? I'm going to closely watch this trend line right here. I'm going to closely watch volume, closely watch RSI indicator. MACD, I won't watch as closely as these other three. MACD, I like to use as a confirming indicator with my others in conjunction, if that makes sense. So I would like to see a breakout of this wedge continue. If not, I will plan a stop loss in place. At the moment, I think I'm going to keep my stop loss down here at 1770 just because I haven't made huge gains yet. And once we do move higher, I will go ahead and I will bump that up. And I'm not sure if that's the best strategy at the moment, but from my experience, from what I know, I'm going to stick to that at the moment. Now, once I start to see more gains, yes, I will go ahead and I'll probably move my stop loss up into this point right here, maybe a little bit lower, to try to hold on to a little bit of gains and protect myself. The financial ETFs are moving higher, so there's no reason why this should not move higher. I hope this video is helpful for you. I know this wasn't too concrete as to what my strategy is. KeyCorp isn't moving as fast as I thought it would, and that's mainly just because of this little correction that we saw, this little retracement that we saw. So all is good in the world, and I think that KeyCorp will move higher. I am long KeyCorp, and I think that it is a good trade at the moment. So there you go. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Please like this video if you found it helpful, and even subscribe if you want to see some more of this stuff. So